Today, continuing with our series of pocket survival kit reviews, we're going to review the Soul Origin. Now, I have had this for years. I think I got this as a present, birthday present or Christmas present one year. And uh, I'll just tell you right now, I've never cared for it. But it's very popular, and therefore I think it needs to be addressed. And Soul is a very popular brand. They put out several survival kits, and we may review more than just this one from Soul, but or maybe it's just SOL. I don't know how you're supposed to say it. It's Survive Outdoors Longer, but it's a gimmicky kit. I'm just going to say that, very gimmicky, and there's a lot of plastic in this thing. A lot of plastic, and I don't mean that the stuff's made of plastic. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, this is a heavy, bulky case that's just a lot of just plastic. So I just got to warn you, I'm coming at it from a negative, but we're going to review it anyway. It's as I said, it's quite a few years old, but I've never really used it much. It comes with a compass. It comes with a fire starter. I'm sorry, these things, it's the play school of survival kits, in my opinion. It comes with a combination knife, whistle, and flashlight right here, and that little doodad. And then on the other side, there's a why won't that open? Okay. There's a integral to the case. I guess you can take it off. I've never tried. Signal mirror, and I've still got the plastic on there. Never used it. And some handy dandy graphics to show you how to use a signal mirror, and that's cool. And then also there's an interior part that has a bunch of doodads. And I will tell you that I've had to replace a couple pieces for this review because just somewhere along the line I either used or misplaced some of the pieces. But it's got some fishing gear. It's got some stainless steel wire. It's got some string, or cordage as people like to call it. It's got some metal foil, heavy metal foil, some pins, and some fire starter. So that is the SOL Origin pocket survival kit, and they cost about 33, 35 bucks. So they're not cheap. That's the most expensive one we've looked at so far. And what we're going to do is like the other survival kits we've looked at and we'll look at, we're going to look at each item and test it if it needs to be tested and see how good it is, and we're going to put that item in a go or a no-go category, and that's how we're going to conduct our review. So let's get started with that. All right, first of all, let's tackle the knife, and it's not a bad little knife. It locks back. It came fairly sharp as I recall. I don't know that I've ever I've sharpened it before. And for survival stuff, it's fine. It's not a self-defense knife, it's a survival knife. So it's fine. Now right there on the knife, what is going on? Skeeter, I'm making a video. Now right there on the knife is the flashlight. Yeah, it still works. And it actually turns on, turns off. And then also on the end of the knife is the whistle. So what we'll do, let's test the whistle. That's easy. Okay, it's P-less. That's probably the worst whistle I've tested. As I recall, the Three River Blaze whistle was outstanding. This whistle is kind of weak. Yeah, not the best whistle. I mean, it's a whistle, but not the best. The knife. Let's test the knife. So we got this piece of civilian cord. Yeah, that knife still cuts fine. And this thing's years old. It's just been sitting. I guess it's stainless, and um, if you're one of those type of people, it's in the blade is AUS8, whatever that means, if it means anything. But yeah, it cuts great. And so the only other thing we need to test on this item would be the light. So let's go into the shed and do that. All right, we're in the shed where we test all of our survival kit lights. And let's turn the light on. Okay. Now I will say it's kind of early in the day and there's a lot of light coming in. So obviously we can read the snake bite kit sign. Let's go down here to the floor. Can we see what's going on? And we can see the floor is nasty. You know, for survival kit light, it's not terrible. It's not bad at all. I got to tell you what impressed me most about that light is that it worked at all, because this kit, as I said, is quite a few years old. I do not see a way to change the battery, so I would assume that you can't. No, 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 I am wrong. There's a screw right there. Yes. So you can change the battery. I never have. So, but that's great. That's great. I'm glad to see that. So there's the knife, the light, and the whistle. I'm going to throw them in the go pile. The whistle's a go, but it's not very much of a go. The knife's fine, and the light's fine. All right, let's look at the compass. Well, I've got a big old bubble in there, first of all. Okay. A good friend of mine said that you really need to shake these compasses. So let's get out here away from everything and give it a fair shake. Okay, that compass is dead. Yeah, that compass is dead. Don't know why, but it's dead. Did it ever work? I want to say it did, because if it had not worked when I originally got it, I think I would remember that. But even though this thing's been sitting, it doesn't work now. So I'm going to pass on the compass. So next, let's look at the lighter. Now this is just one of those flint strikers, and I have to say I like these. This is what I was issued in my survival kit in the Marine Corps. We had the little brass ones, and it was really cool. And I think a lot of them. Now these gray strips, which are kind of mushy, I guess they're just to hold on to, which is fine. But this thing works fine. I don't know how it's built. The ones that we used to get issued actually had a spring in them that was pushing the flint up. I would assume that's what's going on in here. But basically all that's in there is a piece of flint, and this thing sparks, and it works great. I like those. You know, when you look, you can look at a lighter, you can look at a ferro rod, or you can look at those things, and I'll take those things because they're small. They're not going to run out of juice, which, yes, I know you're saying, well, even after a lighter runs out of juice, you can use it as that. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. But if you've got the right tinder, those things work wonderful. So, speaking of the tinder, let's look at it. This stuff that they sent with this SOL that they include, and I remember thinking this, it doesn't look like the waxed cotton tinder I was used to getting, but I've never experimented with it. So let's take one apart and see how well it lights. Just because I've never seen it doesn't mean it's not good. That stuff came apart just fine. Look at that, first strike. All right, we're definitely going to say that the waxed cotton fire starter is a go. I better put this out. All right, moving on. Let's look at the foil, and I assume it's aluminum foil. It's a very heavy foil, but what is the purpose of this? I mean, the only thing I know, and I've been to survival classes and survival schools, and I've watched YouTube, so I'm an authority. But the only thing I know that this is good for is creating a little container where you can heat water over a fire. So if you're looking for a fire capable container, a container that can be used to heat in, that carries flat, yeah, this is it. This thing's about a foot square. Other than that, I don't know much use in aluminum foil. I mean, if it had petroleum jelly, you could use it for a burn. But other than that, I don't know. I'm going to put it in the no-go file because I think this space, this small amount of space, could have been better used than with that. I'd rather seen some water purification tablets. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to throw it in the no-go file. And when I say water purification tablets, and you say, well, you don't have anything to put your water in. Well, sadly enough, I have been very few places where I don't eventually run up on a tin can or a soda can or a plastic bottle, and that's just the truth. So the days of not being able to find a container, at least where I go, is over. I know, when I went to JES school, which is Jungle Environment Survival Training, in both the Philippines and Thailand, when I was in the Marines, we were taught how to create containers out of bamboo so that we could steam water, cook, heat water over a fire. We could steam our rice. I mean, different things. And that's great to know how to do that. But sadly enough, most places you're eventually going to run into a water bottle. If you didn't have one with you, you're going to run into a plastic water bottle or a soda can or something like that. So I think that space could be better utilized with something else. All right, got a hank of cord here. Never opened it. It's not paracord or anything. It's just cord, and I don't know if you can take it apart and turn it into smaller pieces of string. So we need to find that out because that's important. All right, so I've unraveled it. I'm trying to get it to focus. And actually, I think there's 5 different strands in there, not 3. It would be a lot of work to unravel it. When you have a rope or a cord made out of just 3 twisted strands, they're easy to unwind. This is one of those 5-strand or 6-strand where it is actually, I don't think it'll focus on that, where it is actually woven and it doesn't come apart very well, at least in long pieces. I would rather have something more paracordish, maybe. Although that's a lot of cord, and there's something to be said for that. But and since the kit does come with both fishing line and stainless steel wire, I'll forgive them for that, I guess. So okay, you talked me into it. We're going to throw that into the go pile. Next, let's talk the little mini fishing kit. Uh, it looks like it comes, I've never opened it. It looks like it comes with 3 hooks, 3 leaders and sinkers, and then of course this string. Now that's great, and I'm all for that. And I'll have to put it in the go pile. But I'll tell you this, and I mentioned it in an earlier review. These days, I would much rather see that hook pre-strung on a length of fishing line, and then I can continue the line with some of this or something like that. I mean, they make them now where they're just already made, and you can throw 3 on there, and you're good to go. That way, if you want to run a trot line across a stream or something like that, not a lot of work. And that's one of the things is the less work you have to do in this survival situation, the more calories you save, the more energy you you maintain, and that's the name of the game in that kind of situation. So, yeah, it's okay. It's a good little fishing kit, very, very small, but there's better options there. Now look at the snare wire. And we call this snare wire, and you know, we learn how to make snares and we talk about snares, but in a survival situation where you're trying to get back to society and to civilization, you're trying to self-rescue or make yourself rescuable, the time it takes to make and maintain and wait for results from a snare is pretty long. I mean, frankly, if I'm looking for protein, if there's water around, I'm going to go for fish or frogs or something before I'm going to go try to trap a rabbit. I just there's too much time involved, and time is one of the names of the game. There's too much work involved, and protein and calories is the name of the game. So wire's good. Nothing against wire, and I usually have some in my survival kits, but I don't think of it as much as about snares as I do about maybe building some temporary shelter or um, fixing some equipment. I know one thing I learned when I went to POW school. You know, in POW school, the first thing they do is take your bootlaces. So you still got boots, but you have no bootlaces. Well, try to run in boots no bootlaces. And a little hank of cord or a little bit of wire to secure your boots would really go a long way. Now, I know POW school is a whole different thing from just survival, but my point in that little story is that there's other uses for some wire. So I'm not against the wire, and there's quite a bit of it here. I'm not against the wire. Um, Once again, I just think sometimes you can find other things to do with that space. Safety pins. I like safety pins. They do a lot of neat things. As Elvis showed us years ago in one of his movies, they make good fish hooks. But we already got fish hooks, don't we? So these safety pins, I assume, are for uh, fixing clothes, maybe helping with creating a temporary shelter, stuff like that. So mm, I don't know that they really are that important. I put safety pins in my first aid kits. This is not a first aid kit. There is nothing first aid in this kit. So I have to assume this this did not they didn't put these in here for a first aid reason. So I'm gonna put it in the no-go. Just I mean they're good safety pins. I just question the wisdom of putting safety pins in this kit. In this kit that has so little room in it. All right, the last actual item is going to be this mirror. And I said before, I didn't know if it comes off. Um, I'm afraid if I take it off, it's going to be broke off. So I'm just going to leave it on there. So, because I guess if you wanted to use it, you could just shut this thing and go and use it. So there's no reason to take it off. Well, I think it's fine. I mean, it is an actual signal mirror where you would look through, you know, the little pinhole and look at the sun and all that neat stuff. And it's even got instructions, which is cool. And they're permanently affixed, printed on the plastic. So I've got to give that a yes. For self-rescue and for making yourself available for rescue, that's a good thing. And so and of course having a mirror that size is a plus. Um, it is heavy, but it's part of this heavy box to begin with. So that's definitely going to be a plus. But before I put this over into the go pile, let's talk about this box. This box always struck me as being just a lot of plastic. A lot of heavy, bulky plastic. Sure, it holds everything together. That's why I call this the Play School of Survival Kits. But and it's important to have all your stuff in one place and not lose it. You know, just keeping it in a pocket's not a cool thing to do. Um, So I agree with that, and it's got that positive lock on it for the knife. But how much does this darn thing weigh? Well, I took it in the house and put it on my wife's food scale, empty of everything except for the signal mirror, because I can't get that off without breaking that pin. And this thing weighed a quarter of a pound. And I just feel like you could get all this stuff in one of those large Altoid tins, maybe. I don't have one, or I would test it, which would weigh a lot less. I know one thing we used to use is the old soap, plastic soap things, and I think I got one of those laying around. Let's try that. Let's see. So these are both holders for bars of soap holders, and at some survival class I took when I was in the Marines, they recommended us buying these, and they sold these at the PX, and making our own personal E&E kits or survival kits. And they're about the same size. And I'm pretty sure I could get all this stuff in either one of these. I tell you what used to be really cool. I don't know if they still have these, but they used to have these little two-piece shrouds that would go over either end of a pack of cigarettes, and they would kind of lock into each other, and folks would put their survival stuff in there and then tape that thing up, and that was just a kind of a high-speed, low-drag of the 80s kind of survival kit. But these things work fine too. So just for fun, let's see if we can get all that stuff in this and lose some weight. Yeah, absolutely no problem getting all that stuff in there. And I think it's going to be the same for this one. The only caveat is this guy, which you can buy these, or I could also break that off and put that, I could glue it up there if I wanted to, or just put it up there. And you take these things and then you run tape around them, and that's going to be a lot lighter than this big old thing. And that's just what makes me think this is kind of gimmicky. And that's why, to be honest with you, I think I'm going to have to fail this kit. It's not that most of the stuff in it isn't okay, but the gimmicky play school IKEA kind of feel to the stuff just really turns me off. There's no room to change or add anything, because face it, most of us we want to add to and change and customize our survival kits, and I just don't see any room for doing that. So I'm just going to have to fail it. The SOL Origins, especially for the price, $35, is no bueno. No bueno at all. Hey, interested in what you think of it? And once again, thanks for watching.